A good buddy of mine was just talking about how our stories matter and how they can inspire people. And I remember talking to my daughter about some of the stuff from my childhood. And one story in particular was I had a friend spend the night, and my dad came home from the bar shot in the face. I can still see it. He's standing in the hallway with the bathroom light on, and there's blood down his face and all down his shirt. And I didn't freak out. I just jumped into action. And, we cauterized it with a coat hanger. We heated up a coat hanger on the stove, uh, cauterized it, put some Neosporin on it, and a Band Aid, and called it a day. Now, he was really lucky, but she says, I don't know how you don't have more trauma. And it's stories like that that build your character, that show that, even though that was a pretty big deal, retrospect, I didn't think anything of it. My buddy was a little freaked out, but shit happens. And, being a police officer for over 30 years, I've been called to people's houses by neighbors, and their kids are just out playing in the yard. They're not doing anything dangerous. They're not vandalizing shit. They're just out there playing, and people complain that they're out there without any supervision. And you talk about lack of supervision. My dad was a foreman on a bridge construction crew, so I'd be home for 2-3 weeks at a time, all by myself. I had to cook, I had to clean, I had to do my own laundry. So when I shipped out for the Army, all that shit was second nature. Doing my own laundry, taking care of myself. Excuse me. So, growing up in the 80s and 90s, we were just a different breed. When I was little and we lived out in the country, my boundaries were about 12 square miles, which is absolutely insane by today's standards. But we used to run around in the woods, from section to section all the time. And my mom had to got me a watch and set alarms on it for us to come home and eat lunch and dinner. So, my generation fucked up and have coddled our kids too much. And you can see that in some of these kids today, where everything is done for them. Parents want to sit in on job interviews with their kids. That's fucking nuts. Our job as parents is to send our kids out into the world and prepare them for a life without us, and build those life lessons into their childhood. So when they do get out on their own, they can sustain themselves. So your stories do matter. Your stories are important, and you should tell those stories. You should write those stories down, because when you're gone, your kids or your grandkids can read those stories and be like, holy shit, that was crazy. But it built who you were, and it built the person that they relied on. And they can see why the stories in your life built you to the place that you are.